Welcome back, everyone. This boat, I don't believe originally came with air conditioning, but I have two handling units that the previous owner put in here, and one drains into the main bilge, the deep well bilge, and then one drains into the rear. The AC condensate is what's draining in there. It also drains into a grid system so that it should find its way to the front deep well, but that is since been somewhat clogged. It still drains, it's just a little bit slow, and it's going through a grid system that I can't follow. And I know there's got to be a better way. This bilge wasn't meant to have water in it all the time. It pumps over onto the sugar scoop, which left a mess, and you might have saw in a previous video where I actually plumbed it off the sides. That fixed the main bilge, but it didn't fix the bilge in the back, and we see that there's water sitting in the rear bilge. Not a lot, but you'll see a couple, 2 or 3 inches, and that's where the engine is, and it just kind of keeps it moist. And I'm seeing some corrosion and light rust on the engine components, so that's never good. Even though it's fresh water, it is keeping it damp, and I need to fix it. I've gone through a lot of different ideas and talked to several people on what we should do. So what we've kind of come up with when it's all said and done is that I'm going to put a sump box back there with the automatic float valve and pump built into it. So I'll keep that in the rear bilge, and then I will have that condensate drip into that box, and then I'll have another through hull, and I'll pump it over the side right next to the one we put in a few weeks ago when we were hauled out. I think that should solve my problem. I don't want to put another hole in the boat, but sometimes it's a necessary evil to kind of fix some other issues. But I'm growing overly concerned about water sitting in the rear bilge. I don't think the previous owner kept the AC on all the time like I do. I leave it on even when I'm not here so that it keeps the boat cool. So it's Texas and it's hot, so we come in here, and if it's 100 degrees, it could take 1 or 2 days for this boat to actually cool off. So, you know, the time I spend on here, it can be uncomfortable. Now I enjoy coming here, even if it's just on my lunch. I'll come here, have lunch, and it's a pleasant experience. And then it keeps down on mildew and condensation and different things that are really hard on the interior of a boat. So anyways, we're going to work on that project. I think the first thing I'll do is I'll show you where I'm going to put the new through hull, which is right next to the other one. I have a bit of OCD, so I want to make sure I get them perfectly aligned. The surveyor spent some time talking to me about how to do it properly, you know, at what height, and to build a siphon into this. So I think I have a general idea of what I want to do. The only thing I'm still not sure is how I'm going to secure the pump to the floor of the bilge. I think what I'm going to do is just put down some light adhesive, maybe some life seal or something like that, so I could bring it up if I need to, but keep it in place when I'm underway so it's not moving around. All right, with that, let's go. I haven't been down to the boat in about a week now, so excuse the bird mess. I need to get this all cleaned up. So you'll see here, this is my diesel vent. This is the through hole that we added, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna punch another one right here if I have room. It could be on this other side, but I think there's a bulkhead type wall right here that's gonna stop me. So anyways, I think it's gonna go right here, and I need to make sure to keep all this in line. So now we're on the starboard aft cabin, and I want to make sure this is the area. Okay, you can see that through hole right there, and I'm seeing if I have 2 inches. It's going to be close. I think I might want to move it a little bit closer to this one, because you see that tab area that gets a little thicker right there, and then that's probably telling me there's some structural strength, and I don't want to jeopardize that. I could also put them on top of each other, but I don't know that aesthetically how that would look. So let's just move it over about 2 inches. Let me get in there and measure. Let me do that first. I should have plenty of room. I'm looking at, if I have 2 inches right there, that puts me just a little bit aft of the other through hole and forward of that tabbing. So we should be fine. I talked earlier about moving this where this edge would be 2 inches apart, but there is some tabbing right about here. So So I'm gonna go ahead and move it over. So these will be paired. It won't be evenly spaced with the vent, and that's okay because this is a different style and it's a different purpose. I'm doing all this just for aesthetics, trying to figure out what it is, but I will have them in line horizontally. Here we go. All right, well, I found my first problem. I need to have a pilot hole because that is wanting to dance around. Well, that didn't take long. I already have one obstacle. I don't have any drill bits here. I mean, I do have my drill and a hammer drill, but I don't have bits. I need something to give me a bit of a pilot hole. So if you'll look at this bit, this paddle bit I bought, it's got a screw type. I don't know how that's going to work. On the packaging, it did say that it would do fiberglass, plastic, wood, and metal. So I'm hoping it won't split it, but I'm going to use this and just see if I can create just enough of a divot that it will have something to grab onto so it can start. All right, here we go. Yep, that worked. Wow, that's making quite the mess. I can see why you'd use a paddle bit because this has to tear away at all the fiberglass, where if you had the typical cup style, I don't know what they are, the hole saw, you're only getting the outer side. So looks like I have about 1/8 of an inch to go. So let's just plow through. All right, there's a fresh new hole in the boat. I'm only 30 minutes into this project and already walking into West Marine. All right, our dry fit was good. Now I'm just finishing up a template to keep the life seal from going everywhere and keeping it nice and tidy. It's not perfect, but it will keep the life seal from being all over the hull and giving me something else to clean up later. Probably should have made it a lot closer. So let's take a look. Yep. Again, not a perfect circle, but it'll work. I'm out here alone today, so I don't have somebody to hold the back side or the front side of this through hole while I thread the nut on it. So I've come up with an idea, and it just involves a bit of line and this washer, which happens to fit as a key right inside this through hole. And I've got the line doubled over, and I got a specific length because when I get inside the aft cabin where I need to be able to put this nut on, I can barely get my head and one arm up there. I can't get both arms to hold it. Well, I would hold this and then put the nut on there. Somebody smaller might be able to, but I couldn't. So I got this washer tied off here, and so what I'm thinking is I can either use my mouth to kind of bite on this, or if I can get it close enough to my other arm to hold it, and or I could even put it around my head. And so as I lean back on it, I'll put pressure on it, and then this will hold this, keep it from spinning while I drive this nut on the back side. And I don't have to get it tight because I'm going to have sealant on here, and I don't want to squeeze it all out, but I do want to get this snug without it excessively spinning. So I'm hoping that'll work. I think it's a solution to my problem so that I can get this finished today. You'll see that I put quite a bit of the adhesive on this back side here, and I will coat the inside. I'll put more sealant from the inside. Normally I do it right now, but I don't want to run this line through it and make a big mess. All right, well, we've pushed out on both sides, so that's promising. There we go. All right, I'll grab that from the inside and should be good to go. Well, there's a preliminary look at what I have so far. It came through well. As you can see, I have sealant pushed into the void between the through hole and the actual hole itself. All right, I have to set the camera down because I will need to use one hand to pull on this to keep it from spinning, and the other hand to tighten the nut. There you go, it worked like a dream. It got it just as snug as I wanted it to be, and wasn't much of an issue. I didn't even get too much of the sealant on me, so I can climb out of here without dragging it all over the rest of the cabin. All right, we're one step closer. This is the rear bilge. We don't have any water in it right now. We're getting into fall, so the AC is not running as much, so you don't see as much condensate, and it's actually draining. It's just a slow drain to the front. If there's a lot of condensate, it'll actually back up into this bilge, and you can see why this is not where you want it, because I got my batteries on this back side, the engine's over here. So I think I have enough room right here for that box, if not right back here. Might get a little tall on this side, but I think we'll be okay. Actually, that's where I think I might want to put it. So now I need to figure out how I'm going to keep it level and how I want to secure it. You can see where they plumbed in the AC condensate to the grid system, and see the water that it's holding back there, and there's a little bit right here. You can't tell because it's obviously clear, but look at the corrosion it's causing back here. You can see everything's got a little film of corrosion, and those are going to be lots of little failures. If you take a look at all these different things that have corrosion on it. You got that engine bracket here, that's got just the little bitty cotter pins. It all has some issues that'll cause problems at some point, so we got to take care of this immediately. I forgot to smooth this overage. Yep, and it's already dry. I can't do anything about it. Damn it. Thankfully it doesn't look too bad, but that was not my intention. Well, well, well. Yeah, that's actually completely dry. All right, well, nothing I can do about it now. It's just a glob of epoxy on there. That part worked really well, and I would recommend it if somebody was going to install a through hole above the water line and doing it by themselves. Let's see. All right, yeah, I'm not real happy with that, but it is what it is. I had to get creative with reducing this down from a 1-inch barb, well actually it's 3/4 inch right here, getting it all the way down to a 5/8 barb. I went to the hardware store and I looked through every aisle and I just couldn't find anything to reduce it down. So what I did is I got a piece of pipe, and then I was able to get it to a thread. Then I found a swivel, and actually that's going to work out better for me, so I can tighten this without twisting the hose and putting a kink in it. And then another barb to reduce it down from just 3/4 to half. It's a half threads to 5/8 barb. So I think I have it all figured out now. All right, so I didn't get it finished today, but I will be able to wrap it up tomorrow. I was able to get the box in, and we actually have it plumbed. I need to run the electrical wires, but what it is, I stopped, and this is a new panel that I just bought. And because we have quite a few more accessories that we want to install, and I don't have any extra breakers here on the panels that I have, so I got this installed. I've had to do the template, get it cut out. I actually bought a few extra breakers. We're wanting to do some LED lights. We got 2 different bilges that we've installed that are secondary bilges. And I don't know, I can't remember everything right now, but there's quite a few, just small stuff. These are all 10 and 15 amp. Anyways, I'll have a professional come in and wire that to the batteries, and then that'll give me a fresh spot to come over and grab some power for the bilge that I just installed. So I'm knocking out 2 birds with 1 stone, because I've needed to put this in for quite some time, because there's a handful of things that I want to power up but don't have an empty breaker, and I'm not one to just go splice into another power cable. Good morning. So today we're going to try to finish up those projects. So I just stopped at Home Depot. I want to finish up the bilge project specifically. So I needed a couple extra hose clamps. So to have extra, I bought a 10-pack. I need to have a marine electrician wire up the bilge, and I'm not comfortable doing it myself. So to get temporary power, what I'm going to do is use these alligator clips. I'm going to wire that in, take it straight to the battery. And since it has a float valve, it's not going to be on all the time, but I need it to have power, so when the sump box gets full, it can actually pump it out. So that'll give me a fix. I needed a couple more clamps. I was short a few yesterday, so I went ahead and bought a 10-pack, because I don't think you can ever have too many clamps here on the boat. And make sure I got the good quality stainless steel 316 versus some of the lighter stainless or even steel clamps that I was able to find throughout the boat. So I've been trying to replace those when I find them. Yesterday before I left, I installed this electrical panel here. don't pay too much attention to that little scratch there. The template wasn't a straight cut. It has little ears right here so that you can screw this in, which made it a little bit difficult. And then I was trying to do some dust management because I'm tired of cleaning this boat after everything that relating to dust. Anyway, so I got this in here. We actually added a few more breakers, so it's kind of full panel, but I want to have the marine electrician get power to here, so then I have a good clean place to come and get power that's got a circuit on here. Because as you know, we have a secondary bilge in here. Now I have the bilge that is in the aft cabin here. That's the part of the sump pump. That's the project for this video. So I'm going to have that. I bought some boards to level it out because right now the sump box is unlevel by about 2 or 3 inches. So I need to address that. I don't think it's a huge issue, but we certainly want to take care of it. Let's start with turning down the AC so it will start draining into that pump so I can test it. All right, so it's 73 in here right now with no AC. I turned it off last night because I didn't want it to fill up that sump box and not have power to be able to pump it overboard. That should get some condensate built up over the next hour or so and give me enough to test. If not, I can just pour water into the box. So I had to double it up to get it thick enough so it wouldn't slip out, but now I have a really good connection. I don't feel like that's going to go anywhere. I'm still dying to decide if I want to put some shrink wrap. This is just the protective sleeve that came with it. Slip it on from the other side. Yeah, I think I will. I think I'll put some heat shrink. Well, I was hoping I'd get lucky that they actually put shrink wrap on there, but it is not, and it's now really hot. We have a near perfect fit on this one, so get that heated up and we'll be just fine. Just make sure that it stays connected. And it's actually it's a peace of mind because it's done right. We're going to do the same thing, just on the other side. I didn't realize when I bought this is actually 14 gauge wire. The other one was 16. I didn't realize that I bought 2 different ones. I wanted to find both of them in either 12 or 14, but the pickings were kind of slim there at Home Depot today. So I may not have to double it up, but I think I'm going to anyways. I'm debating. Let's see. We'll at least put a little bulb at the end of it so it'll grab it. Pull this off. Lay this in there. I'm sure there's a better way of doing this, and if you know, let me know in the comments because I'm just working it the best I can to make sure I trap it in there. If there's any electricians that watching this episode, I'm sure there's a handful of things that I could be doing differently or better, but that's not coming out, so I do know that much. So let's get the shrink wrap on this one and we'll be ready to connect it up. Another really good fit. And when we're done with this, I'll probably keep these because it would make perfect sense to have these as temporary wire if I need to get electricity to something in a hurry. If I just bundle this up, put them in a baggie, I think they could come in super useful in an emergency. All right, so I just cut this one here, and this is about 1.5 inches. And if you look at this is the shape of the sump box, and when it sits in there, it sits crooked like this. So I want to have this on the bottom of the box to get it leveled up. It looks like it's about 2 inches, maybe 1.5 inches, somewhere between 1.5 inches and 3 inches. I'm not exactly sure. So I'm gonna cut a second one out here, and then I also have some scrap little 1/2-inch wood. I'm gonna cut a couple of those and I should be able to shore up that one end. I'm not gonna secure it right now to either the box or the bilge. I wanna make sure that everything fits. It's gonna rattle around for a little while, but I wanna make sure the system's working before I start epoxying or gluing anything down. All right, that gives me 2 of those. I know it's not that far, so I'll just have a couple little extra pieces of this 1/2-inch and I'll just build it until I get even. I'm gonna crack on this end. Let's go ahead and use the other side. And what I'm doing is just using this as a template to measure it. And because I'm super sophisticated, I'm scoring it with a key. This doesn't have to be exact. Let's get a couple of those. You saw me move the piece of wood because if you look down here, once I cut it, it's going to fall into the water, so that's why I came back here. So let's move the camera a little further back. All right, let's go below and see if we can get these to get us level. It's a bit dark back here, so I don't know how much you can see, but let's start by putting one of these flat pieces. I know that's not enough, but you'll see the angle here. And now let's grab this. This is the one I really expect to start making a difference. Oh wow, that's really close right there. So let me get a level and let's measure it. It's really hard to see in here. Let's see. We have, okay, there's level. And so one, if I were to put one more in there, it goes too high, it goes to the other side. And I want it to drip towards the float valve, which is right here. So I think this is where I want it to sit. I'm pretty happy with that. Now the problem is it starts bouncing around. You see, there's the movement I have. Let's see if I can put this other piece on the back side of it, if that'll kind of minimize some of that movement. Okay, so yeah, it can only go down so much now. And yeah, so we're still, the problem is I want to lean just a little bit that direction. It's probably going to be about a 1/4 inch difference in from forward to aft of the box. I don't think that's going to make a significant difference on how it drains or collects water. All right, well, I'm pretty happy with this. It's as level as I'm going to get it without everything being secured. This is the part that makes me really nervous, is to run these wires. Again, it's only going to be temporary, but I'm coming over to the start battery because I know it's always hot. And I'm not going to connect it right now, but oh, I used a lot more wire than I needed. So I'll wire tie those to the different hoses so it doesn't get caught up. We do have the prop shaft right here, and I'm going to use these alligator clips to just give me a temporary connection on those. Time for the big test. With any luck, we should hear this turn on. All right, did I not get enough water? There we go. So it looks like it's going to hold a fair amount of water no matter what, because right now I'm looking and there is probably a 1/2 inch of water in the bottom. I was hoping it would grab it off the bottom, so I don't know why. I just would rather there be no water in there. All right, let's try test number 2. I'm gonna dump it in there in a hurry. See, the box is half full and the float switch is not turning on. Okay, now the box is full and it turned on. All right, well, I'm a little confused what's going on here. Huh. When I hit it like that, that was interesting. All right, well, we're going to keep testing till I see this work the way I think it should. So when I manually pushed it down, it started pumping, and it pumps out really quick. But I don't understand why the box has to be full to start pumping. But yet the float valve is working because I hear it click on. All right, on the positive side, we do have electricity to it. We do have it draining off the side of the boat. There's one. That's not enough for the float valve to turn on. And you'll notice the box is about half full right now. There we go. Yeah, I just wish it would turn on a little sooner. So that's what tells me that I probably need the back end here higher. I had stopped recording at this point, but I ran a few more tests and the pump was working correctly, so I cleaned up my tools and checked this project off my to-do list. Next week, I'll replace the stern light with an LED fixture and contact Gulfstream Marine to wire in the new DC panel. Well, that's it for this week. Thanks for watching till the end and following my journey, one adventure at a time. If you like this video, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment below. Your engagement really helps the algorithm show my videos to a broader audience. Alright, I'll see you next time.